Hi, beautiful people. Welcome to my July 2025 bullet journal setup. This month I'm participating in a community challenge from Jazzy Corin, which is called Scribbles and Suitcases. So basically, it's a travel themed monthly setup. So I've decided to go with a road trip theme. So we'll have some of these maps. There's also going to be some caravans and camping and combis and that sort of thing. A lot of the stickers I use, in fact, I think all of them maybe so far, are ones that I actually made myself on my Cricut because when I came up with this theme, I thought I had lots of stuff in my stash that matched, but then when I went through it, it turned out I actually didn't. So that could be a blessing in disguise, I guess. It gave me the motivation to actually get my Cricut out and do something with it for a change. So I guess silver lining. So we're going to start the month off with our cover page and a quote page as well. It's not technically a quote about travelling, I guess, but I thought it kind of tied in with the theme. But before we do that, we'll just get this cover page done. So I did a thick highlighter first and then added in the darker brush pen to try and make that kind of drop shadow thing. And just one sticker this time, a lot more pared back than last month's cover. And that's one of those ones that I made on my Cricut. So the quote I went with this month is "Blessed are the curious, for they will have adventures." So I guess that's kind of travelling, adventures. This brush lettering did not turn out how I wanted it to. This brush pen was horrible to write with, and I will then try to avoid it for the rest of this setup, but it does have to come out a couple more times, unfortunately. But it's readable, it's okay. I'm going to just let it be. So that's our cover page and quote page done pretty much, other than adding this cute little van with the suitcases on top, because we can't have a road trip without a van and suitcases, can we? So turning over the page, we're now going to set up our monthly overview. I've gone with a calendar style overview again this month. I find that's been working well for me in this square journal with the wider space, so we'll keep that going for a bit. So just ruling in my boxes, these ones are 8 squares across and 6 down with an extra row on each of them for where the numbers are going to go. As you can see, once again I ruled a line too long because it wouldn't be one of my setups if I didn't make a mistake somewhere. I thought I'd penciled and worked this one out so carefully too. Obviously not carefully enough. But that's okay. A little piece of that sticker paper would cover that up nicely and you won't even know what happened. Thanks for that tip, Jess, from Jessie Corin. Now, these are the washi tapes I'm using this month. Those two, I think, are Simply Gilded, and the other three, I believe, are from an Archer and Olive subscription box, so unfortunately no longer available. I'm just going with this desert washi along the top. I kind of drew inspiration from this tape initially, so I guess I kind of embraced that desert road trip more than anything throughout this theme. I've drawn a lot of colours out of these tapes for the whole setup, and most of the stickers that I made are either the same colour palette or have got that kind of desert link to just try and keep the whole thing a little bit cohesive. You can see the purples and greens and the dark blue at the top there that I will be using throughout the month. So just going through and putting a highlight in those boxes where the dates are going to go. Once again, I haven't bothered to leave space at the top to write what day of the week is what, because I always start my calendars on a Monday, so I can just look at it and know that's a Monday. But obviously, if you wanted to put those in, you could very easily just leave space at the top for them. So just going through and putting the dates in now. We're just about done with this one. We just need a little bit more decoration on the side there. So a bit more desert and that really cute combi van. And then turning over to set up our monthly dashboard page. This is a page I started including probably around this time last year, I think. And I don't think I could go without it anymore. It's got a section to keep track of all the bills that are due during the month and how much they're going to cost me. A section for any phone calls I need to make. Any tasks that are repeated weekly go on this spread, as well as a running to-do list for the month for things that don't have to happen on any particular day or week even, but just sometime during the month. So I'm just going in with my second line highlights now. I like to do these not only to make the spread look a bit more full and complete when I've set it up, but it also just makes it easier to read those long lists and to see which column relates to which mood or habit or whatever it is that I'm tracking down those lists. I'm just using an Archer and Olive calligraph to do the headings on this page. I did decide after I'd done them I didn't really like the colour though, so I'm going to go over them with a blue as well, which will create that drop shadow effect again, but also just take away a little bit of the brown. And as you can see there, the page on the right is going to have my habit and mood trackers, which are also an essential part of my monthly setup. I have had some issues with health and mental health over the years, and this is a really good way for me just to keep track of how I'm going and how I'm coping with day-to-day life. So these are just one column for each week, and I'll write the tasks or the people I need to call in the lists, and I can just check them off pretty much how the Alistair method works. As I do them, I just check off which week they've been done in, so I can kind of see what's happening where. Now I'm doing my habits and moods in two different colour highlights, just so I can see clearly where one stops and the other starts. And I decided this month to actually rule the vertical lines. Normally I just do a highlight of the verticals as well, like I've done on those smaller trackers on the left. But I found last month I was getting a bit sort of wonky and lost, and it was taking too much brain power some nights to figure out what column belonged to what when I was trying to quickly fill in my habits for the day. So we'll see if these vertical lines work a bit better for me this month. Fingers crossed. So just got to pop a couple of headings in over this side and put my dates down the trackers, because it probably helps if you know which day is which. And I'll just fill in across the top what the habits and moods are that I want to track for the month, and then this page will be just about done. So obviously you could just leave it at that and that would be your functional page, perfectly usable. I will obviously add a little bit of decoration because it wouldn't be my bullet journal if there wasn't some sort of decoration on every page. There's not a lot of room for it on this page, but I will manage to fit some because I have to. But first we just have to fill in these habits and moods, because obviously a tracker's not much good without them. And you can track whatever you want in here, make it as big or as small as you like. My mood tracker has a lot of extra things included because of those mental health issues I talked about, but it doesn't have to. You can really just have an overall mood for the day or whatever you want, really. So we're just going to put a bit more of that map washi down the side because, as I said, there's not a lot of room, but we'll add something. And then this blue washi I thought would be a nice little extra touch. I did decide I didn't really like that hard line, so a bit later on I will just tear a bit of that away and make it a bit more of a natural line and take the harshness off it a little. I've added some blue dots to my to-do list because it's going to get dots anyway, so I thought I'd just put them all in now and it can be part of the decoration. So you can see I've torn that washi away now. It just doesn't look as heavy. And another little cute combi van. And that's this page done. So turning over, we're now going to set up a page for my content creation tracking on the left and a one line a day page on the right hand side. So my content creation tracker is kind of really just a box for me to write all the things I need to do to get my YouTube videos done, my Instagram posts out, all that sort of thing. So the YouTube one is that box at the top that's slightly bigger, because obviously YouTube videos take a bit more steps to make them. And then just one box for each week for the other content. And I don't know if you noticed, but I did make another mistake there and draw another line too long and get saved by that sticker paper. And then this side is one line a day. Some people use it for one line of gratitude, or you can use it as a one win for the day, or just a memory about that day. I tend to do a bit of a mishmash of everything depending on how I'm feeling at the time that I sit down to write my line in, what goes in there. But you can use this page however you want. Essentially, it's just writing one line of something each day for the month. So that's pretty much all of the functional stuff. So we're just going to add another one of these little washi map stickers. And this is from Luscious Labels. Unfortunately, that shop is currently taking a break, but if she starts trading again, I will definitely link that for you. More of those stickers I made myself, and this is a simply gilded washi going across the bottom. It's still that desert theme, but more in the orange sunset sort of style, and a glittery washi at the top, which I had to actually get the scissors out to cut because it doesn't quite tear the way the normal paper does. And then that's this page done and decorated, and we're ready to set up our first weekly for the month. And this is the only weekly I'll be setting up in this video. Other than the first week of the month, I like to set my weeklies up as I go. That way I can make any changes I need to, add things I have decided I need that weren't there before, or take things out that aren't working for me. So we've got 7 boxes for the days of the week. I've got an extra box there for things that are happening the following week because, as I said, I don't have that set up when I'm using this weekly, so I need somewhere to write those things. And the box that I'm currently fixing because I made another mistake will be for my to-do list, as well as a section to track any self-care things that I do during the week. I used to just have a box on my normal habit tracker saying, yes, I did a self-care task this week or this day. But I was never really paying attention to what self-care tasks I was doing or what really, in my mind, constituted self-care. So I've started doing this one in my weekly spreads just to break it down a little bit more so I can actually see what things I'm doing and what areas of my life I'm kind of neglecting as far as that self-care stuff goes. So I've got some map papers that I've just torn and put in the corners. I just printed those out myself. And some more of those cricket stickers. And I'm just popping that purple highlight in again just to create a space to write the headings. And this tracker for the self-care is going to work pretty much exactly the same as those other ones we did on the dashboard page, where I'll write the task in the left-hand column. And then I'll just put a little tick in whichever day I did that task. Some of the things I put in there are things like reading or catching up with friends or some quiet time alone. You can put whatever you want down there. And that's this page done. And then there's only one more page we're going to set up today, and that's my brain dump page. So this page will mostly be full of writing, so it doesn't need a lot really on it, but again, every page of my journal must have decoration. So we're just going to stick in another one of those map papers that I printed out. Just add a little bit of something there. It still leaves me plenty of space across that diagonal to write. I'll put my heading in that horrible brush pen again. I forgot how much I'd hated it at the start when I went to use it here, and then remembered as soon as I wrote that first D. Then we're just going to tie back to that covered desert theme and the camper van that we had at the start. And a little bit more of that Archer and Olive washi across the top. And then that's it. We've done our setup for this month. It was fairly simple. other than obviously making those stickers. That was probably the most time consuming part of the whole thing. And now for the flip through. I really hope you found this video helpful, and if you have, I'd love it if you would consider giving me a like and a comment, and consider subscribing to my channel. I have lots more bullet journal content over there, and you can always pop over to my Instagram page at beautiful_crafts to see even more content. Bye.